haunting in Venice. Are ghosts real? Are they a fact? Or are they simply fiction? Hey everyone, welcome back to House of Films. Yes, I know, it's been a while, but life was lifing and I hope you've all been well. Anyways, enough of my rambling, let us begin. In today's journey, we're venturing into the heart of Venice, but this is no ordinary trip. Picture a city shrouded in the mysteries of the past, right after the turmoil of World War II. Now let us picture a murder, or should I say, a suicide, wink wink. No, let us also picture money grabbers that would do anything for a quick buck. And finally, let us picture a dick. Sorry. I mean a detective. A detective with his head so far up in his own arse, he can see his heart beating. In any case, the film follows Mr. Perrault, a retired detective, living in Venice. His mission? Debunking if spirits are real. But ultimately, as fate would have it, as she does so many times, he is dropped smack middle into a murder investigation. Also lead to another murder investigation, which also leads to another murder investigation, which also then leads to... You get the point. Our guide, the enigmatic film A Haunting in Venice. It's a story that weaves together the ethereal with the earthly, the past with the present, and leaves us questioning the very fabric of reality. Basically what we see versus what we think we see, which is more times than not even close to being the case. If your idea of a good time includes unraveling secrets in dimly lit corridors while thunder rumbles ominously outside, you're in the right place. If it's not, and you're actually normal, stick around anyways, I really need the views. Let us peel back the layers of this captivating narrative together. Let us begin. Firstly, we'll talk about the atmosphere of the movie. The ambience of A Haunting in Venice is a character of its own. It's basically a grumpy old man with arthritis. Riddled with arthritis. Imagine wandering through Venice's ancient fog-laden streets into a house that's almost a portal to another time. The house, with its echoing halls and shadowy corners, is like a living, breathing entity. Because my fellow movie lovers, it is. Whole homes hold different generations of lived experience together like a piece of fabric, and it sets the stage for a tale of mystery and suspense, and also a teeny weeny bit of corniness. The show is kinda like Knives Out, just the counterfeit version. It's like if Daniel Craig started making bad movies. Not saying it's a bad movie, but it most certainly ain't no glass onion. The filmmakers masterfully use the creaks of wood, the howling wind, and the intermittent flashes of lightning to envelop you in a cloak of unease. It's also important to note how they use superstitious characters to really sell the gothic atmosphere, because the house wasn't really haunted. It was just old as shit. Adding to this is the city's eerie calm after the storm of war, making you feel like you stepped into a world where the past isn't quite as dead as it seems. And I think the doctor did a really great job of this. He was quite literally shell-shocked, swimming in PTSD up to his neck, and he really sold the somber effect war has on a man's spirit. The belief that the house is haunted from the get-go doesn't just add a layer of intrigue. It serves as a foundation of a story where every shadow could be a ghost from the past, beckoning you closer. As I said before, the character did a really great job of conveying a sense of dread inside the house from the offset, and all of that added to the intrigue, which is also good for any murder mystery. Now, let us talk about the murder mystery dynamic. As the plot thickens, the true essence of the film starts to unravel. It begins as a slow burn, kinda-ish, and I say that because there was a murder at the very onset of the night, when the seer died, but the plot didn't actually reveal itself until the end of the movie. I mean, her death actually catapulted the plotline forward, so I guess it acted as a catalyst to really get the movie going, because originally, the detective was just there to debunk the quote-unquote mystic, which ultimately turned out to be a sham conducted by the Three Stooges. I mean, charlatans. It's a gentle pull into the depths of mystery that's as convoluted as the Venetian canals themselves. The sudden death of a young girl casts a dark shadow over the house, with fingers quickly pointing towards the spectral. Yet, the heart of this mystery beats not in the ethereal, but in the very human heart of jealousy and betrayal. Well, it's more so a burning desire to control her child from Rowan's point of view. Freud isn't else smiling from ear to ear, I'll tell you that much. Because how can you poison your daughter because you think her boyfriend is a F-boy that doesn't deserve her? Does she want to coochie bump with her own daughter? What in the world? That's so crazy. This revelation that the mother, driven by a perverse fear of abandonment and being a complete control freak, was slowly poisoning her daughter shocks to the core. Well, maybe not to the core, but it was extremely alarming. As I said before, y'all booed Freud, but based on y'all behaviors, he had some really valid points. The seance, a ploy for profit in the face of tragedy, turns the story on its head, especially as the detective unravels the sordid web of deceit. The irony of the seer's death, a twist of fate, or perhaps karma, and not even karma, and in this case, completely valid, throws open the floodgates of suspicion, ensnaring everyone in a dance of doubt and revelation. The seer dying really sets things into motion because it was so on the nose. She came there to make a profit off a would-be mother in mourning and instead got her heart essentially ripped out of her chest. All of that is extremely funny. Instant karma is well and truly a bitch. Our detective, amidst the chaos, remains the only beacon of truth. His keen intellect cutting through the fog of lies, which to be honest wasn't really obvious at first, but the more the film carried on, the more glaring things became. Now, onto the psychological intrigue. The film navigates the murky waters between the logical world and the realm of the spirit, aka the illogical. It's basically a tug of war between what you think you're seeing and what you're actually seeing. It's a psychological maze where every turn reveals a new facet of human nature or a new shadow of doubt. Because at first, detective would have probably thought that the maid did it, or the former police did it, or even the family doctor did it. But I think those were essentially a tad bit too obvious. Hence why I think the filmmakers threw us this crazy curveball. Because, let us face it, it would be too obvious if a former soldier who's traumatized by the vile things he saw at war ends up being the murderer after he snaps. That would be too in front of us and cliche. Extremely cliche. Nobody wants that. Part of what helped the intrigue was that bro was also directly a victim, seeing that he committed suicide to save the life of his son, who was actually the real blackmailer. I don't know why, but he kinda reminds me of a young Sheldon Cooper. But yeah, as I was saying, it was a good curveball. The mother being the culprit, that is. And it kinda plays on us a little in terms of psychology. Like, where does the line get drawn in the sand in terms of parenthood? Is it love or is it pure, unfiltered control the way some parents act towards their offsprings? I don't think it's love. Some people are genuinely pieces of shit that don't deserve the privilege of being parents. She poisoned her daughter for Christ's sakes. Like, what the hell? The detective, with his sharp mind and skeptical heart, and his oh so riveting personality, yawn, stands as the arbitrator between the seen and the unseen, the real and the imagined. He's a skeptic, and I think all great truth finders are. You have to be. The human experience is so riddled with all manner of evil, you can't really take shit at face value, and that's simply the truth of the matter. The film's essence lies in its exploration of the human psyche, of how greed, guilt, and grief can manifest into a haunting more tangible than any ghost. It forms, I hope I don't sound crazy by saying this, but an actual sentient consciousness. Delves deep into the complexities of perception, challenging the audience to discern the truth amidst a tapestry of lies and half-truths, all woven together with the thread of hidden agendas. It does a really good job of highlighting the real and exposing the fakes. So as corny as it is, I enjoyed that aspect of it. 10 out of 10. Nah, I'm just joking. 7 out of 10. Now, let us do a little character analysis on the detective. The dickhead, sorry. I mean, the detective is an enigma wrapped in the guise of a French Sherlock Holmes. He's Sherlock Holmes without the charisma, sense of style, charm, borderline photographic memory, his own Dr. John Watson. The only thing they both really have in common is the fact that their personalities are so incredibly off-putting. Like, on top of being French, like that wasn't a travesty enough, he's also extremely quirky, and not in the "oh, that's so cute" kind of way, but in the "oh my god, I'm gonna file a restraining order" kind of way. Despite his questionable accent and sometimes overbearing confidence, he's undeniably brilliant. In his own way. Again, no Sherlock Holmes, but he might be a monk, give or take. His character is a study in contrast, a man haunted by his past, yet unyielding in his search for truth. I think this is why he's a detective. He's ultimately searching for himself in his cases. People call him a debt dealer. I don't agree. He's just the man that conveniently always starts to clean up everyone else's messes, and that can be frightening and borderline paranoia inducing. His journey through the film is not just about solving a murder. Well, it was originally about getting to the bottom of some hocus pocus bullshit, but as I was saying, it's a quest for redemption, for peace in a world that seems perpetually shadowed by death. His keen observation skills, coupled with a moral compass that refuses to be swayed, that's one thing I'll say. He calls a spade when it came onto the money grabbers trying to profit from the grief, which is the correct thing to do in all cases. All that makes him a fascinating focal point. Through his eyes, we see the reality of the seance, the depths of a mother's deception, and the innocence of a young blackmailer. Like, British Sheldon Cooper motives were noble, but ultimately they cost two people their lives, and it's ultimately left him an orphan, seeing as how his father committed suicide to keep him safe. His intent was noble, but boy oh boy, boy's execution was piss poor. And all of that would be cool if two people didn't lose their rascal lives. Each of these revelations adds another layer to the intricate puzzle that is a haunting in Venice. Now, let us talk about my favorite theme of the movie, the supernatural elements. The supernatural, or the belief therein, serves as both a backdrop and the catalyst for the unfolding drama. Well, the film wasn't actually supernatural, and we went over why it wasn't earlier. The fact that the house was old and squeaky, and it was during a thunderstorm, that kind of sets the stage for a whole haunted house vibe. The film toys with the audience's expectation, blurring the lines between what is real and what is imagined. It's basically telling us what we saw wasn't what we actually saw. Or in this case, what detective thought, seeing shadows, hearing voices, and then on top of that, dealing with so many people who believe the supernatural did not help at all. And on top of all of that, he was going through all of this while being under a drug-induced psychosis, thanks to the wonderful Rona Drake. The old house, with its inherent noises and shadows, could indeed be a home to spirits, or it simply might be a settling for a very human drama. Which would be cool, might I add. It's just a bummer it wasn't actually the case. The detective drug-induced visions offer a glimpse into the supernatural, but they also highlight the power of the mind to create what it fears most. He's running from the ghosts of his past. He's manifesting new ghosts in his psychosis state. Talk about not being able to run from your nightmares. The dance with the supernatural begs the question, are we truly haunted by ghosts, or are we haunted by our own guilt and fears? It might be a little bit of both, when it's all said and done. Now, we've arrived at the social commentary. At its core, A Haunting in Venice is a reflection on the extremes of parental control and the dark underbelly of familial love. And when I say the dark underbelly, bro, I mean the darkest part. A flashlight would be dark under there. It's a stark commentary on the lens of which jealousy can drive a person, blurring the lines between love and obsession. I think it's a really fine line, and I think our species have a tendency to really push the boundaries of what should be considered socially acceptable amounts of jealousy. Like normal jealousy is good, but once we start sounding like Joe from you, then it's kind of time to really get a hold of ourselves. And should be even more when it comes on to a parent-child dynamic. A lot of parents think they own their children. That's exactly what Rona Drake thought, hence why she poisoned her daughter. It's also fair to think that nobody's good for your child, because I mean, that's your bond of joy. But realistically, that's not the case, and most parents need to stop that stupid shit. It's harmful to both the child and the parent, and it will eventually strain the relationship. The film holds up a mirror towards society, revealing the unsettling truth about the possessive nature of some parental relationships. It's like boy moms times 5,000. You guys know what I'm talking about. A lot of them are extremely weird and off-putting. The mother's actions, driven by a twisted sense of love, or what she believes is love, is not. You can't love something or someone and do it harm. This serves as a cautionary tale to the potential harm of when love becomes controlled, which unfortunately that happens so many times. It's a narrative that, while set in the shadowy corners of a gothic tale, resonates with very real, very human themes. Like, it's sad honestly when you think about it. She wanted to control her daughter so much she basically poisoned her, which eventually led to her death and the death of 2 other people, while also leaving a child orphaned. Actions have consequences, and her set a roller coaster ride of complete and utter bullshit. As the curtain falls on A Haunting in Venice, we're left to ponder the nature of hauntings, or in this case, the lack thereof. Is the house truly a nexus for the supernatural, or are the real ghosts the ones we carry within us? They are BTW. This film is a masterful blend of gothic ambience, intricate mystery, and a profound psychological insight. Well, let me not say profound, but it's enough to make you go, that's some horse shit right there. But I can see how it would play out in real life. Because ultimately, most movies reflect real world behaviors. It challenges us to look beyond the surface, question not just the reality of ghosts, but the shadows that lurk in human heart. Alright, fair enough, that kinda sounds a tiny weeny bit corny, but you get the point, you get what I'm trying to say. We carry our problems and they haunt us like ghosts. They may not be physical, but it does feel like psychological warfare a lot of the times. What are your thoughts? Was the house haunted by the spirits, or by secrets far more earthly? Share your views in the comments and let us continue this fascinating discussion. And as always, it's been my pleasure to be here with you dildos throughout this exploration. Remember to like, comment and subscribe, and follow all my social media. With all that being said, remember to take care of yourselves and be nice to each other. See y'all later.